You're the weird one, man. Don't make me feel weird because I like porn. You're the weird one for not liking porn. I'm normal as shit.
Peeing on people, that's normal?
Evan, I'm not saying I'm gonna look at it. I'm just saying that it comes with the site, okay? I don't know what I'm gonna be into 10 years from now.
I'm just sick of all the amateur stuff, you know? I mean, like, if I'm paying top dollar, I want a little production value, you know? Like some editing, transition, something, some music.
Yeah, you know, well, I'm sorry, Evan, that the Coen brothers don't direct the porn that I watch. They're hard to get a hold of, okay?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
This is Cheap Seat Reviews.
Hey, and welcome to Cheap Seat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good. This is episode 192, and tonight we're talking about Superbad. I am Sean Allred, and joining me tonight, hopefully eventually some point, will be Andrew, you look like Aladdin Jemison. And joining me actually here now in the live is Sam is drinking soap or beer Vector.
There was blood on my pants.
That was so gross. Okay, so let's...
with a few choice expletives around that statement as well. I just don't feel like rooster telling tonight.
Oh my gosh, like crazy.
Did you have to? But when you were pulling clips, how did you?
I didn't. Okay.
Did you wear down your button?
No. So let's just get it out of the way. Well, first, okay. Against Andrew's not here, so let's do this. What is Superbad? Well, it's the 2007 comedy with two codependent high school seniors are forced to deal with separation anxiety after their plan to stage a booze-soaked party goes awry. That's a weird word. A-W-R-Y. It looks like Auri.
Auri.
It goes Auri. It goes Auri.
It goes Auri. But I never got it as codependent. I saw that too. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Not
it
really.
was literally.
I mean, they're friends, but I don't see them as codependent friends.
And it wasn't until like the last second of the movie where I was like, "Oh, this movie's dealing with separation anxiety," and it was dumb. It was dumb.
Yeah, I mean, goodness gracious, like in the home ec class, you know, what's his name, skinny kid.
Yeah, Michael Cera.
The Tommy Boy, you know, where you've got David Spade and
yeah.
It's kind of like the younger version of those two. Well, and Chris Farley. Yeah. The David Spade character was, you know, putting the apron on the other guy, and
but that was so weird, like
so strange.
Like the whole movie, they kept giving these little moments where you're like, is he gay? I'm not sure, but then you don't.
But then
really...
he's pining over this girl.
Yeah, and then all right, so let's do the thing, right?
Okay.
So the movie here, had you ever seen this before?
Yeah, I'd seen it before.
I never have. I'd missed
really?
this. I totally missed this somehow. And I got to say this. Again, we're missing Andrew, so we won't, you know, we'll eventually get his take. And I'll do yours here in a second, Sam. But I just feel like I got to, well, that heater's really loud. I feel like I got to get this out of the way. I didn't like this movie at all. I didn't. Now,
at all? I think it had moments, but I was pretty.
Yeah,
I was never into it.
Here's the problem.
Does that make sense?
We're too old for this movie. I think that's what it is. I'm too, like, in 2000, if I'd have seen this in 2007, right? So I would have been 25.
Like 8 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, shut up. You would have already been 38, so you still would have been too old. But I was 25, and I probably would have liked it more. But here's the thing. And you can tell your side of this fine.
Okay.
I cannot relate to this movie at all. To any of these characters. I didn't drink in high school. Hell, I didn't drink in college. I didn't these parties that these high school kids in movies go to didn't exist when I was in high school. Like the parties that we went to, the parents were there, and there were board games and Coke and pizza. And
Coke isn't the drink.
Coca-Cola. Yeah, thank you.
That's a big designation.
Yeah, you're right.
You want to make sure that it's the okay.
Unlike this movie that had Coke, the other kind. So I can't relate to really anything in this movie, like at all. And I didn't talk the way that these guys talked.
Well, see, and that's what took me out, because the people I hung out with just don't talk like that.
Yeah.
And we know a couple people that have pretty filthy mouths, but they're rare. It's just not.
Yeah, and we all had a couple buddies that swore and stuff, but it was more like a rebel thing than
a common language.
Yeah, than just. Right.
And is that a California thing, you think?
I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe
because that's the only thing I can think of is that these kids are the writers of some of these movies and shows that we watch, that they cuss so much like this.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it's a cultural West Coast, or just maybe we're just not part of that culture.
We're not.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I'm fine with it too. And the whole, I don't know,
But I will say I did party a bit in high school, and maybe not as mega parties as we see in the movies, because they're all just kind of fantasized parties.
Right.
But I've been to parties with 20, 30 folks in high school, and liquor and cops breaking it up and stuff like that. And we were band kids. So, I mean,
well, yeah.
I can relate to that part of it. What I can't relate to is just the constant talk about sex and body parts. And
yeah, I mean, the whole, I could have really done without the whole bit where he's reliving this moment where he was drawing penises on everything. Like,
see, I thought that was one of the moments I cracked up.
Oh, I was rolling my eyes. It was so dumb, and like it had no point, because like he hates this girl for whatever reason, and I'm like, you drew a penis and she screamed. Like, why are you mad at this girl? Like, you have no recourse here.
I think that gets into how relatable some of these characters are. And I was certainly, the Jonah Hill character, I thought he was a jerk. And I never once
he's a freaking bully.
Cared.
Like, he's so mean to Fogel. I mean, he gets bullied by that jerk who spit on both him and the cop, who then got baton whipped across the face. That I did laugh at that. But the other part was like, but he was so mean to Fogel. Like, why would he hang out with it? I guess maybe he doesn't feel like he has an option or anything better. But like, he was just such a jerk the whole movie. Literally, I mean,
even to the Michael Cera character, the Evan, which they're supposed to be best friends. There were a couple times I was like, why does he hang out with this guy?
Yeah, they don't become like. There is kind of a redemption moment at the end of the movie. But it's because they're both drunk.
Yeah.
And then they kind of have like, not makeup sex, but they have makeup bromance or whatever it is, right? And
they're reconciling their differences, or the idea that the separation anxiety, I guess, is where they were going with on that. It's weird.
It was. I don't know.
Although, I did room, my best friend in high school roomed with me at App, so I guess that kind of worked out that way.
Well, and it's funny because my best friend we did not room together because everyone told us not to. Everyone said you shouldn't room with your best friend. Now, it also happened that he had made his decision to go to App before I did. So once he had made his decision and had already filed it for his housing and all that stuff, and it took me another maybe 3 weeks before I made my decision. So by that point, it wasn't even an option.
It was too late, yeah.
And so, I mean, it wasn't until junior year when we were living in an apartment before we roomed together.
Do you think that? I mean, do you think that worked, that was fine.
It worked for us. I mean,
Yeah.
But then he would eventually move away, and then we would live together again, and then whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
I mean, it worked fine for us. It didn't hurt our relationship or anything like that. I don't know if it would have. Frankly, my freshman year, first semester, I hated my roommate because he was a drug dealer, legit,
Yeah, I
actual
think I
drug
remember
dealer.
that.
So I was at my buddy's place more than I was at my own dorm, way more than you know.
Yeah.
So, but what ended up happening is I became really good friends with his roommate. So Chris moved out, and I moved in with his roommate, and Chris moved down the hall. So anyway, no one cares. But my roommate was a drug dealer, which was real fun because I walked in on that, and that was.
Did he end up? Do you know if he graduated or if he stayed?
Ryan got arrested eventually. I don't know what happened to him after that. We had a mutual friend, and I'm like, when I moved out, and that spring semester, I'm like, oh, hey, man, what's going on with the guy? And I said, how's Ryan doing? He goes, oh, he got arrested. You know, the cops saw him with all the drugs and stuff, and he got arrested. And I'm like, oh, okay. That was the last I'd heard of Ryan, so I had no idea.
Wow.
Like, I don't even know his last name, so it's not like I could even Facebook him. Like, I don't even know.
Check the sexual predator website. You know, the dot is somewhere.
Well, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know.
Who knows?
Anyway, so I guess we haven't really done the thing where we normally do, where like we go through and kind of intro the movie, but
Yeah.
but with this movie, we're a little irregular on the show because right now it's just the two of us, which is fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's a little different without the third bouncer, I guess you could call it, out there.
so this movie goes against my rule where if I take a lot of notes, it means I didn't like the movie. There wasn't much for me to write about, honestly.
No, and was it? Do you think so much of this had to have been improv?
I'm sure a lot of
Right?
it was. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of the Seth Rogen, not Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seth Rogen. For some reason, I thought
Yeah.
that was the guy that did the gross.
Was it Seth and Bill?
Yeah, Bill Hader. Yeah,
Yeah.
the two of them. I know most of their stuff was improv.
Yeah.
And Seth Rogen was one of the writers of the movie.
Yeah.
He actually helped write the movie. I think with Jonah Hill, actually, not because Jonah was like I know he's playing a high school senior. He's 23 in the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say that this is one of the few teenager movies where it felt like they were teenagers.
Well, Michael Cera was like 19, and then Fish Legs. I can't even remember his real name.
McLovin?
McLovin. Yeah.
Yeah,
He played. It's funny. There are two people in this movie that are in one of our favorite movies ever, in How to Train Your Dragon. Because McLovin is Fish Legs and Jonah Hill is Snotlout. Anyway,
Yep.
what was I going to say? McLovin was 17. So like he's actually, and again, that kind of goes to that thing where like I have weird issues when people are in movies that they're not actually old enough to go see without mom and dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but like, yeah, I didn't take very many notes because again, there wasn't much to talk about. Like, there wasn't a lot of meat to actually just talk about. The stuff that like all I wrote was things I wrote was like, oh, I didn't know Emma Stone was in this, and okay, so here's something interesting because again, you saw this movie a long time ago,
Yep.
and I never saw it. This was
I didn't see it in theaters. I think it was either a rental or
sure.
online somewhere.
This is the only thing I knew about this movie. Like,
Okay.
this is it, right? This is what my memory of this movie is, okay? The McLovin guy gets a fake ID, and his name is McLovin. They're in high school, and something about trying to get with the girls. That's all I remember. I didn't know anything about cops or the whole basically the majority of the movie is this weird adventures in babysitting trying to get from point A to point B kind of a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like I had no idea. So as this movie is going down this weird avenue, I'm like, what is this place? They're at an adult party with all these other stars that I'm like, I know all these other guys. Hey, there's my Serenity connection with Mr. Universe. And like things got all weird and strange, and then he's pouring out detergent to put beer into it, you know, like It was
Well,
just,
and the strange thing is, it's literally, and most of these Seth Rogen movies are like this, where it feels like he gets a bunch of his friends together
yeah.
to make movies.
Well, it's the same. It's Adam
And-
Sandler thing too, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it kind of makes me want to hang out with that type of group if you are, I don't know, entertained by it. I don't feel like I could hang out with this group. Now, the Adam Sandler group, I don't know if it's an age thing, but that would have been fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and they are older. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It seems like there's a lot more mean humor in this.
Yeah, it is.
In terms of degradation and just making fun of other people.
Yeah.
Other than themselves. You know, a lot of Adam Sandler stuff is he's making fun of himself.
It is a lot of self-deprecating moments, and
Yeah.
but like even when he makes fun of other people, it's usually in such like a silly, farcical way. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah. In this case, you know, I don't know.
they kept,
just a lot of crude jokes and stuff like that. And that I'm sounding like the 80-year-old on the porch yelling at the kids to get off the yard.
well, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. Like I'm just sitting here watching. Again, the majority of the times that I laughed were not at that stuff. It was at some more of the physical humor, like when they're running through the backyard, running from the cops, and they crash into the tent with the kids, and the kids are all freaking out, and the dad comes out and throws a bat and hits him in the back, and he falls over. Like that was funny to me because it was a physical thing, you know. And like when he got hit by not one but two cars, I laughed at that. But then like that weird dude that was in the car, and we've seen him in a couple other movies before. Like, you know, his whole shtick was weird, and and like the scene with the like what you made a reference earlier, the blood on the pants. None of that was funny. That's gross.
That's so gross. He touched it. He touched it with his hands and smelled it, and
Right.
oh god,
It was gross. And
oh. Gross.
most of that stuff, it was lost on me, wasted on me. And again, maybe I'm just too old for that. You know,
I don't know. Maybe it's a generational thing.
Maybe.
You know, that's a good point.
And maybe if I was thinking about it, like because when I was kind of doing that research, but looking back at movies for our top 3 category, I'm looking at movies going, yeah, those are kind of dumb too, and they worked because of when I watched them. You know, and I think that there's something about, you know, when you watch a thing, you know, like if you give my dad who's 70 and let's say let's go watch Return of the Jedi for the first time, he's gonna be like, why are there little teddy bears walking around? You know, like.
Yeah.
But you and I are like, because they're flipping awesome, because that movie hit us at a time where it worked.
At the perfect time. And maybe, one of my favorite movies, and we'll talk about this probably later, but Can't Hardly Wait. And I think we did it, didn't we?
No, we've not done that.
Have we not done Can't Hardly Wait for this podcast?
No. No, I would remember doing that because it's got Jennifer Love Hewitt, and she's amazing.
Yes. And that movie hit me at the right time, I think.
Yeah.
Because that is one of my favorites of all time.
That redheaded kid that keeps stealing stuff. But like that's a gag in the movie. Like no one gets hurt. It's not mean. Like there's.
But it's pretty much the same thing as this movie, right?
Yes, but without 95%. There's no F-bombs at all in that movie, right? I mean,
you care about the main character.
Right, you care about this guy, and like he's kind of relatable because he's this
nerdy.
He's this kind of nerdy, slightly, awkward.
Yeah.
Basically, all 4 of us that are on the podcast, right, when we were in high school. And,
you could average us all out.
Right, and he's this, here comes this incredibly beautiful actress, or not actress, but, girl, and Jennifer Love Hewitt, and, he writes this letter to her, and and I may or may not have been inspired by that movie to write a letter to a girl that I liked.
Did it work?
I did not have the gumption to give it to her.
Oh, there wasn't some sort of magical path it took to eventually land in the whatever, the popcorn or whatever she's eating at a table.
No, it landed in the trash can of my computer.
Oh, Sean. Oh,
It actually worked out because eventually I would go on a date with that person and realized how not good she was for me. So it worked out in the end. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
which ironically, she's now an author
Oh, cool.
in New York, which is kind of funny. Anyway, letters and things. This podcast is like, well, I guess
weird.
I was saying it's weird because we're talking a lot about past things, but it is a movie that's 10 years old, and
Well, yeah, and it's teenagers, and they're graduating. I mean, we've gone through all this kind of stuff. It's just, again, it feels like, good Lord, another interception.
Live
Come on,
updates from the game from Cheap Seat Reviews.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys.
By the time you hear this, we will already have known the outcome of the game.
Crap. Now, what was I talking about?
Teenagers graduating, seniors.
Oh,
and
graduating.
things.
Yeah, there's so much relatable stuff, but it's just a whole different crowd. And I guess that's in any high school. There's going to be all sorts of different crowds that people hang out with. My wife was part of the goth crowd and, the punk rock kind of
Stop
people.
it. I know you're literally saying that because your wife is in the room.
She just flicked me off.
Yeah, I remember I went to for those who don't know, I went to high school with his wife. And she wasn't the
one you wrote the letter. Oh, you're not writing books. Okay, never mind.
No, it was not her.
Right.
She is as far away from whatever you just said as you can be.
So yes, my goth wife.
I would love to see that. Actually, I'm not going to lie.
It'd be interesting. I'm
Kimberly
looking at it right now, and I could
with black
imagine
lipstick
it all
and
black and
like
real pale makeup.
a pierced nose.
Oh, pierced nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, this is getting weird.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, just the different groups that hang out, and I guess I hung out with the band group, and usually band folks are pretty good, and we were. When we had our parties, we weren't going anywhere. We were sticking in the same place. We had parents that would be home while we had these parties. They wouldn't be, how could I say, condoning what we were doing, but they weren't stopping it either. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's kind of a thought of that. Well, if they're gonna do it, at least they're here, confined and safe, and we can control it in case things get too far left of center.
Exactly.
And I never experienced that, but I understand why, or that some parents thought that.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a strange feeling, in high school, a party like that has a different feeling than a college party.
Well, yeah.
It's more of a thrill, I guess you could say, which is why I think it's shown so much in these types of movies, because it's, number one, rare that something like that happens. Mm-hmm. And number two, it's just something that's a lot more fun.
Yeah, I guess, and maybe you're right. Maybe it is
not condoning these things myself. Of course,
well, maybe it is more unicorn like, because high school parties with alcohol just seem crazy, and I guess losing your virginity in high school is I guess cooler than in college or whatever. But I guess that I almost none of the movie was relatable. I actually kept getting frustrated because those cops were literally the worst cops I've ever seen.
See, I was dying at the cop. The cops, any scene they were in, I enjoyed, because they were so just. It was like a farce of being a cop, because these guys don't. I'm sure they don't really care for cops.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
I don't know, but like,
and the way they were, flaunt, they're holding guns.
Oh yeah, I mean nothing. I mean, yeah, obviously
everything was wrong.
Yeah, none of them. Yeah, neither one of them had gone through any kind of police training. I mean, I got so frustrated to even go far as to make fun of the guns they were actually holding, because no cop would ever. And this is my note. I wrote, okay, I know it's a dumb movie, but. One, cops don't use nickel-plated sissy pistols, and two,
but it looks cool, man.
No, it doesn't. They look dumb. And that quote is from a movie. It's not. I'm not just. If you have a silver-plated gun, don't yell at me. It's a movie quote. And two, if it's a service gun, which those were service weapons, you can't just fire it randomly. Like at the end of the night, I'm being serious. And any listener who out there who was
they count, don't they? They count the bullets.
They count each bullet. You have to be accountable for every bullet. So when he just gives McLovin the gun and says, empty the magazine into the car. First he says clip, which they wouldn't say. It's a magazine. Empty the magazine in the car. I'm like, you would never do that. And when he's firing, like when he fired the guns looking for Jonah Hill or what's his name, Michael Cera, when he just fires it off into the air, more police would be called. Like people hear gunshots in neighborhoods and they call the police. Like it was.
Not to mention the way in the bar where they're getting they're
freaking drinking.
Homeless guy or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that part too. Yeah.
Should I shoot him? Should I shoot him?
Shoot him. No, shoot him.
No. No.
50 people in that bar and he pulls a gun. Oh, okay. And another thing, again, just to make the movie more ridiculous. Let's say they have McLovin and they're going to do him a favor, right? So and that's fine. That that's actually not unheard of. The cop wants to, help a guy
cool,
out,
man.
maybe give a kid a ride or something. There's nothing wrong with that. And they have to go respond to a thing, fine. But you don't get out of the car. They would literally tell him, you can't get out of the car. You just stay here while we go deal with this thing, and it might take a minute, right? And then that's it, right? Like you don't do that. And so I don't know.
For the safety of the person.
Right. Like a good buddy of mine, his name is Dave. He doesn't listen to the show. But he was a cop, and he was my buddy when I worked at Carowinds, and he was a cop for 9 years, and he also worked in the entertainment with me. And he told me when he was a cop, he would do ride-alongs. He was allowed to do ride-alongs with his dad. And his dad would ride along with him, and he would let his dad make decisions. So they'd go park, right? They'd go park to do like a speed trap, Or they were actually parked at a stoplight because there was a stop sign. There was a 3-way stop, and people would cook through it. And so he would literally let his dad be the one that decided if you get pulled over or not.
Oh, nice.
And so he's like, all right, Dad, I'm going to let you decide. So like a guy come running and goes. That guy? No, Dad, you'll know. And the guy comes and goes. That guy? No, Dad, you'll know. And then the guy goes, Rome. That guy. He's like, yeah, let's go get him. And so anyway, part of my story, though, is that Dave was driving with his dad. He was having lunch, and he gets a call. It's a hostage situation. And Dave was the closest guy. So he was like, all right, Dad, we're going. So he pulls up, and and cops are allowed to do this. You can, on a moment, deputize someone if you need to, like if you need backup. So Dave unlocks the shotgun in the car. Well, Dave's dad was Army, right? So he knows how to handle himself. Mm-hmm. And he says, Dad, anyone comes out of that house other than me, here you go. And he unlocked the shotgun, and he went in. He and 2 other guys went in to go take care of business. Unfortunately, everything worked out fine. But my point is, McLovin would not have gone into the bar and been in a situation where he had to tackle the old drunk guy. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. And again, I know
I would have rather seen a movie based on McLovin than these other 2 guys, especially the oh God, what's his name? Big guy, Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, yeah.
Yeah. I thought the character of McLovin was the star of this one in terms of what I cared about and what I was watching. Because he just reminds me of that nerdy kid who thinks he's cool, but not, he's not. It gets kind of beat up on a little bit just because he's nerdy, and you just wanted him to win. And in the end, he did. In the end, he did win. Like he probably comes out of this probably ahead of everyone, honestly. And I think one good thing about a movie like this is that it gives. There's lots of characters that you can relate to. So like I related to the Michael Cera character more because you like painting kitty cats on Asian classmates.
No. Not that part. That was so weird. That was so weird. But more like the fact that like the girl of his dreams is like throwing herself at him, right? But she's drunk.
Yeah.
And he's like,
And you can't take advantage of
He's
that.
like, you're drunk, and I don't want to do anything that you're going to regret, because if we want to do something, I want it to be kind of like mutual. And I'm like, yay, good job being the good guy, you know? And I relate to that for that reason. And so, like, I appreciated his character. Whereas, like, if it would have been the other, you know, if it would have been Jonah Hill, I kind of think he would have gone for it. Right? Because that was the whole point, right? Was to get him a stone drunk.
Maybe. You know, remember when he said he was going to go grab some liquor out of the store and he had all those little daydreams?
Yeah, but I mean, but I think the reason was more self-preservation than honor code.
Honor code, yeah.
Yeah, because one of the dreams, he gets cut in the neck and dies. And then another one...
the old lady gets hit with the bottle?
Well, yeah, no, that was the one where he gets killed. But the other one was like... He does the old lady a nice thing, and then she helps him out.
That's right. Yeah.
So he's taking advantage of her. Well, sort of. I mean, I guess she probably in the daydream is aware of what's happening. So I mean, I don't know.
Like the crazy girl at the older kid party or the college kid party.
Yeah.
I think he would have. If the problem wouldn't have been presented to itself on his pants, he would have taken advantage of that situation.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, and I think that also I mean, if he would have, because his whole plan was to get Emma Stone drunk, and then he got mad when she wasn't, and then he passed out and hit her in the eye, and he even said, he was like, the only reason why I could ever get a girl like you is if you were drunk. Because you wouldn't go out with me. So then it turns into pity party, and she's like, "Oh no, you're actually a nice guy," and whatever. And then the movie
like,
kind
BS.
Yeah, and then the movie kind of ends with, you know, her possibly, you know, going out with him or whatever, right? And it's all kind of happily ever after, and they go on to Dartmouth. It would have been interesting to see a sequel with Sarah and McLovin at Dartmouth, and like Jonah Hill is not in college. He's just basically hangs out with them at Dartmouth.
Yeah, he's the fish out of water for that.
Yeah, like
for the premise of that movie.
Yeah, he makes fun of all the college guys and stuff like that. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
definitely see that. Okay, I didn't capture very many clips.
Yeah, I know. I wonder why.
Because so many of it was sweary, and I'm not in my normal setting, so I didn't.
Instead of our rooster tail, we should have a different soundbite for that, like a little meow or something pretty innocent. A little baby going, okay, or just something. Yeah, maybe next time we'll think of that.
I'll work. There's my. I'll work on that. Is this the right clip? No, it's the old one. It's all the old stuff. I don't have any of my new stuff. Andrew.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Sorry, it took me a while to join you. I'm joining you from my car currently.
Oh, hey Andrew. Are you in Hickory?
I am.
Oh, what you doing in Hickory? Well, we'll talk after.
Well, yeah, talk afterwards. Anyway, well, welcome, sir. How are you doing?
Well, I'm here.
Can you? I hate to ask, but can you talk a little louder because your headphones on your thing are.
Oh, yeah. Is that better?
No, but be louder.
Be louder. You scream.
You're in a car. You mean who are you going to offend?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So, what do you think of the movie, Andrew?
It's super bad.
Yeah.
No. I haven't seen the movie in a long time, and I watched it, of course, when it came out, and loved it then, thought it was hilarious. And it's kind of a stupid funny, and I appreciate those things occasionally.
Yeah.
But, since then I've matured a little bit. I found some of the jokes funny and some of the gags funny, but it is what it is. It's a little romp through some potheads' dreams.
I need to make a comment here before we get too much farther. If you listening at home don't appreciate the quality of microphone that Andrew normally has, you will now. Because
Yeah, I brought
Because
that with me, but it's in the hotel. I'm headed there now.
no, and it's fine. I'm not making
yeah,
fun.
no worries, dude.
No, I'm not.
Seriously.
No, I'm just saying. They're literally there's a reason why we spend money on quality microphones is to make the podcast as good as we can, and not use the little headphone microphones for your iPhones because.
Yeah, I think I had to do that on The Exorcist, if I remember right.
There's
'Cause that
several
was
episodes.
The
Well,
power,
yeah, and poor Corny. There was
Is that the one where you were sitting in a church parking lot?
Yes, because the power went out in the
Yeah,
house.
I remember that.
That was freaky. I remember. Yeah. Oh.
That made it creepier for me that you were sitting in a church parking lot talking about The Exorcist.
And I can't tell you how many Corny had to do it like from his laptop, from his car, in the parking lot, outside of his school because the internet at his house went down.
Yeah, I remember that too.
So hey, man, what it just proves is that we are here to provide you entertainment.
And look at what Andrew is sacrificing to talk to you folks tonight. He is blindly driving on probably a 321 somewhere in the dark, talking to you listeners, totally distracted. So.
I have no idea where I am, actually. So
See? Exactly.
You'll be all right.
But we kind of agree with you, Andrew. I think it just hit us at a different time. I think if we were teenagers watching this, it might have been a little funnier and a little bit more relatable. But it just wasn't as funny this time for me. And I at this time, I actually started not liking some of the characters. Like the Jonah Hill character was, to me, more of a bully than he was someone you pull for.
yeah, oh yeah.
So,
And
Definitely. There were still some moments that I laughed out loud. And,
I love the cop scenes.
Yeah.
Anytime
Yeah, they're
the
great.
two cops were there was hilarious.
Oh yeah. As many of you listeners know, I listen and watch these movies usually while my wife is asleep in bed beside me. And this is one of those where she kind of got pissed off because I did bust out laughing in a few scenes and wake her up. So it did. There's still a few things that got me going on this one, but overall, it's not a quality film.
Yeah.
It's a fun film, I guess.
It's one that doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't hold up. At all. I mean, like I did make a note. One of the few notes that I wrote was, back when phones sucked because they were having issues with bad service, and like he's complaining about his phone. He's, you effing phone, and blah 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 blah. And I want to slap you, whatever. And of course, she's only hearing. So I thought that was going to be a thing where like she was mad at him because of poor cell service, and but it didn't. It turned out not to be a thing. So maybe his cell phone is a hopping man. I don't know, but like,
I think we're hearing Andrew getting murdered.
no, he's just getting out of his car.
Oh, he's getting out of his car. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, and then I was saying earlier, Andrew, just like the things that worked for me were like the physical gags, but like the majority of the language in the movie, I mean seriously, and this is trivia that'll come up in a minute, but the amount of F-bombs in this movie was ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
But what's the difference between this and Wolf of Wall Street?
Well,
Wolf
that
of
was
Wall
actually-
Street had more per capita.
That's actually my comparison is that Corny, when he was going to be with us tonight, that was actually his original middle name was more F-bombs than Wolf of Wall Street, which
Is
is
it really
true.
more?
No, it's not more, but I'll go ahead and say it. The F word is used 186 times. The movie itself is only 113 minutes long. That is an average of 1.6 uses of the word per minute. Jonah Hill says 84 by himself. So the Wolf of Wall Street, it was like 2.1 per minute or something. So I mean,
It is Wolf of Wall Street, 506 times over 180-minute running time.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, like Wolf of Wall Street for a little while held the record for most in a movie until like an independent film came out, and then a documentary on the F word itself came out. So it's like third. So I mean, yeah, by comparison, I guess it's not as many, but it still was just big. But it's because of who was saying it, right? It's high school kids. And again, I don't have any delusions that high school kids are these innocent little beings of light. Like, I was a high school. This is great, by the way, Andrew. This is great Foley work.
Sorry, all my Foley work.
Yeah. Again, I don't have any delusions about that. I was a high school boy. Like, I understand the hormones and the things and all the stuff that's happening. But I don't know. And I don't know. I guess I just didn't talk like that because I didn't feel a reason to. And
You didn't say pound and vaj.
no, I never said stuff like that. I definitely said
Good,
stuff
I'm
like
glad
that.
you did.
But like even just the F word, I mean, my dad had a little thing, and people might roll their eyes, whatever. My dad would say, if you can't think of a better word than a 4-letter word, then you don't have a very good imagination. And that was just something that I've always kind of carried with. I mean, honestly, the only time I really get sweary is when I'm playing my games online. And that's just because
I generally it's when I get hurt. If I should stub a toe
now there's science behind that, Sam. I mean,
I know the Mythbusters did it, right? Isn't it
and not even
the
just
ice bucket challenge thing that they did?
Well, it wasn't even just Mythbusters. This happened several times. It was like a Princeton or a Harvard or some fancy university did the ice thing, right? Where you stick your hands in a bucket of ice water, and then your control group were people that didn't say anything, right? Who just said words. And then your next group was people that used fake sweary words like fudge and sugar plums and whatever, right? And then the third group was the people that actually swore, and they were able to hold their hands in the water like almost like 2 times as long. It was a significant amount of time, and it's because swearing is against a cultural norm, right? So it's kind of taboo.
Yeah.
And whenever you do those types of things, your body, there's a chemical reaction, and you get a little bit of an endorphin hit. That's the reason why people jump out of airplanes. It's not normal to do that. And so you get an endorphin rush. And so that's how they're able to kind of hold their hands in longer, is because they're getting these endorphins that are overcoming pain.
That's how I'm able to teach high school.
Sure. I mean, you get your little endorphin.
Don't doubt
boost. Yeah. To help mask the pain. So anyway,
the kids in the front row, they get a whole different experience than the ones in the back.
Sure, because they can hear you under your breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. So anyway, I think basically what we've said so far, though, Andrew, is that I think this was my first time seeing this.
Oh,
you and Sam had seen this before. I had not. So I think where this movie failed is like you had a memory of having a good time with this movie. So when you went back and watched it, you probably still have some fun time memories, even though some of the stuff now that you're in your 30s doesn't hold up. Whereas me, having never seen this before, almost none of it held up for me because I'm watching it through a 35-year-old with 2 children, going, if Declan turns out to be like Jonah Hill, I'm going to slap him because he's such a douche. So anyway, you ready for my clips? The 3 that I captured.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
All right, here we go. This is a little gross, and I apologize, but it actually kind of made me laugh because I wasn't expecting it.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, Jane. I am truly jealous you got to suck on those tits when you were a baby.
Yeah, well, at least you got to suck on your dad's dick.
And that's the majority of
the. My wife got pissed at me, I think.
That's the majority of the movie, but it caught me off guard because I wasn't expecting the response, and it's so flat for Michael Cera that's what the delivery of that one more than anything else is what made me laugh. Number 2, here you go with some of the police guys. Oops, here we go.
Whatever 5'10" is, he was 5'10".
Ethnically, I mean, was he like us or
A woman?
no?
Female?
No,
Is that what
no,
you're
no, I
asking?
would
was
say
he
like
What?
African?
Was he African?
African.
No. He was American, and he was like you. He looked just like you.
He was Jewish.
Just like
Okay,
you.
Jew.
Okay.
It's an odd crime for a Jew to
Yeah,
commit.
no, pretty docile.
Okay, so we have an African Jew wearing a hoodie.
Look,
And the part of me that's funny now, as 10 years later, with kind of the race issues that we're having right now, that made me laugh is because like these guys are so uncomfortable with just the concept of asking a black woman if the guy was black. Like they're so uncomfortable with that, and that's what made me laugh was their uncomfortableness. And then he's like, "Oh, a Jew? That's kind of a weird crime for a Jew. They're such docile people." It's just, they were literally the worst. And this is the only other clip I got of the movie, and again, more with the cops.
Are there any ladies we'd like to show this tape to?
You don't want to be a chick in a bar, man. Seriously. That was a major turning point in my life is when I realized that you got to go to other places. You got to go to spin class, a farmer's market, pumpkin patch, given the time of year. Just somewhere social, non-threatening, something like that.
I met the missus at paintball. Yeah, shot her in the neck, and we.
Oh, that was awkward. Yeah,
And they're making that up as they go.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah. I mean, then he tells a story about his first wife was a whore, an actual whore, and that part was funny too. So
yeah.
Anyway, they were fine. They were terrible cops, but they were still good times. Okay, here we go.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
I still have that clip. All right. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg started the script when they were just 13 years old because, quote, we just wanted to see if we could write a movie, end quote. I guess technically you did. And because Christopher Mintz-Plasse Fogel was only 17 at the time of the filming, his mother was required to be on set during the filming of his sex scene. Oh, that's too funny. Oh. I mean, the fact that he had to pull out a condom and lube with his mom in the room just makes me laugh. Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right. Moving on. I don't have my actual top 3 clip, so I'm going to play this.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
That's what I'll have for that. So we decided to do teen comedies. We kind of mentioned that earlier. So teen comedies for this movie. Andrew, have you had a chance to look to do any homework?
No, you guys go first, and I'll be ready when you're done.
All right, Sam.
All right. Hold on. Let me pull up here. I've got a honorable mention for a movie I was introduced to on this podcast, Breakfast Club.
Okay.
My number 3, I've got Mean Girls.
Right on.
Number 2, I've got Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay.
And number 1, I've mentioned it before, Can't Hardly Wait.
Yep. Right on. I'm with you there. Those are all exceptional movies.
Yep.
I will go next, as Andrew was still.
No, you won't. Shut up.
Can't Hardly Wait is in my honorable mention.
Okay.
My number 3, Mean Girls. I don't know why, but that movie just works for me. And I quote that movie all the flipping time, especially when I make reference to, the part when the friend is giving Kat the kind of the rundown of the school. You got your Asians and your not Asians and your jocks and your sexually active band geeks. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how. That's kind of how it was when I was in high school too. So anyway, And number 2, 10 Things I Hate About You. I just
I didn't enjoy that as much.
Oh, Taming of the Shrew, it was good. And I liked it a lot. And I find, what's her name, extremely attractive. I can't remember her name right now. Dang it. Oh, well.
Julia Childs?
Huh?
Julia Stiles?
Yes, Julia Stiles, yeah.
I thought you said Julia Child.
I thought you did too. I was like,
now?
oh, no.
Look at that. Look at the big brain on Mr. Vector tonight.
Yeah, good job, dude. And my number one, and again, people are going to go, wait a minute, this is your number one, and you didn't like this movie? Again, it came out when I was a senior in high school, and it worked on me then, and that's Road Trip.
Oh.
Like,
I forgot about that.
Road Trip worked on me because it came out the summer going into college. So, like, everything in the movie was relatable to me. You know, long distance relationship and, things change when you get to college from your high school, whatever. And DJ Qualls had a pair of underwear that they said, did you skin a cheetah? You know, like, like for whatever reason, that movie worked for me. Right, and this didn't. But again, that movie came out when I was 18, so it worked. And they didn't say the F word every 1.6 minutes or once every 1.6 minutes or whatever I'm trying to say. 1.6 times the word was used every minute. That's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, Andrew, you ready?
Yeah, I think I can be ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely have to have The New Guy on the list, another DJ Qualls movie.
I do like The New Guy too.
Yeah.
That movie is pretty.
I guess that was right. Yeah, I was a senior in high school when that came out.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
It's kind of like a farce comedy. So basically the idea is like DJ Qualls is this super nerdy guy, and he basically gets so beat up and ridiculed at his school that he actually gets suspended, or he gets expelled for a thing, right? And he accidentally has to spend the night in jail or something, and meets Eddie Griffin, and Eddie Griffin shows him how to be kind of street a little bit, and so he goes to a new school, and he gives him all these tricks and stuff to make him seem more like a badass, and he ends up with Eliza Dushku, and the younger Deschanel girl is in it. And it's ridiculous, and the ending is ridiculous, and I don't know. I mean, it's almost as farcical as like Scott Pilgrim versus the World is. You know, like there's not that there's things drawing in the air or power ups or whatever, but like, it's kind of that silly, right? So, and his father is Lyle Lovett, which is really weird, and
yeah, and it's actually believable that he could be his father.
Yeah, because they kind of look alike, actually. So, anyway, if you ever get a chance to, Sam, you actually should watch it. It might not hold up again because that movie's 17 years old and you're in your late 40s, but. It worked for me when it came out, and the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack because it's all these 2000s like punk bands like New Found Glory and Good Charlotte and stuff like that. So anyway, go ahead, Andrew. Sorry, didn't mean to take you on a tangent.
My other two are actually tied for first.
Okay,
because they're both great movies, and I think they both still hold up pretty well. Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
All right,
and Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Cool.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller.
Yeah,
Bueller. I'll actually do that every now and then if I know the students in the room.
Sure.
And I'm doing attendance and they're not answering. I'll just keep saying their name over and over again until.
Did you think some of them
respond.
Get it?
No, I'm pretty sure none of them get it.
No, that's a shame.
It at least makes me chuckle.
No, that's all that
it's
matters.
all about.
That's what matters. All right. Well, that's kind of a show. Honestly, I know it's a little short, but
yeah, it's been fun. I think we did okay. We missed you, Andrew. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry again.
No, it's fine, dude. It's fine. I mean, we all have lives. We all have other things that we're doing. Again, I'm in a hotel in Chicago. You're in a hotel
I'm
in
hiding a body
Hickory.
on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Right. So, I mean, we're all doing very important things, and we're just going to leave it at that. So, that's our show. So before we get into what we're watching next week, I need to do the thing, right?
Where we do the top 10 or out of 10?
Oh, yeah, I guess we should do that too, right? I wasn't even going to do that part yet. But I'm glad you said that. So let's do that next. Out of 10, it's in my script right here. That's right. Tell me what to do. I should do it.
I got to keep you on the the straight and narrow here, Sean.
No, I know. Which is weird that it's you. That's your responsibility.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to get to see Thor this coming Saturday, and I'm excited.
Oh, good. Ooh. I think everyone will have seen that then, right?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
But I will see it soon.
All right. Well,
have you seen Justice League?
No, we had an opportunity to, and then we had some. So, Chicago was not built for people to own cars. So we drove.
You took the train?
Well, we did today because we finally found a place to park the truck. So we drove up in Stewart's F-250, and we literally spent the first night here, which would have been the best night to go see Justice League. I think we probably spent 45 minutes to an hour finding a place to park at the hotel.
Wow.
And then we found a parking garage, but it's $20 a night.
Ooh.
And so we basically brokered a deal with the manager of parking services at the hotel so we can keep it here for like $20 for the next week and a half. Because basically we were threatening to take up one of their prime spots because it was on the street and available. And we pulled into it in the parking. The valet was like, no, you can't do that. And we're like, why not? And then it became a thing, and no one cares. My point is, I haven't seen it yet, but we're going to see it soon, probably Sunday, because that's the only day we're not working. So after we watch football game, we'll go check it out, because there's a theater a block and a half from where we are right now. So,
sweet.
Anyway, so with that being said, let's do our top 10, and then we'll tell you what movie we're doing next week. If it isn't Justice League. So, Andrew, you're top 10. You're out of 10, I mean.
Okay. Well, it has some things that brought back memories for me. And so I guess it has, I don't know. There's some comfort in that funny that I know that I've had before. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And so there were a few things, though, that I felt like didn't hold up. And, there's certain, you mentioned the cell phone usage and stuff like that was just a little outdated. And as far as the acting goes, it's hard to kind of rate the acting in a movie like this because some of them are overacting on purpose because that's what the movie calls for. So, I don't know. I'm just kind of lukewarm on this now as far as the film itself. So I'm going to say right in the middle. I'm going to say a 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. I'm with you. Sam?
I'm kind of I'm also very lukewarm on this one. Not as funny as the first time I saw it, and it's kind of getting less funny as I'm getting older and more curmudgeon about the use of the F word. And the crutch that it becomes in movies like this. The cops redeem it, though, and I probably I'll give it a 5.37 out of 10.
Okay.
Mostly because the cops were so good.
All right. Oops. What happened?
Do it. Do it now.
There we go. I'm going to give it a... I'm actually surprised you guys were as low on this movie as I am. And I guess maybe because we're all old. But get off my lawn. So I'm gonna say a 4.95 for basically all of those reasons that we've already said. And Yeah.
Yep.
I don't really know what else to say, but the episode name is going to be "Get Off My Lawn."
That's good. Yeah. That's
it's
pretty
just,
much us.
I don't know. So okay. Anyway, so that's that. So next week we will probably do Justice League, assuming I see it, and I will let you guys know Sunday if I have seen it or not. If it's not Justice League, next on the list, and I'm going to double check to make sure that it's streaming, is E.T.
E.T. Is it still streaming?
It is still streaming on Netflix. So E.T., the 1982, which is the year I was born, classic movie.
Year of Our Lord.
I've actually watched it not that long ago. It came on TV, and we just kind of stuck and we started watching it. And anyway, lots of interesting emotions about that. But if not, then next week it'll be Justice League. So there. Something also interesting I learned is that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is on Netflix.
Yay.
And we did not do a spoiler cast for that. So that might be worth doing, I think. I don't know. I think it might be fun. We did the first one as a spoiler cast.
Yeah.
And typically whenever one of these big budget Marvel movies gets on Netflix, we do it. So because we did Doctor Strange. So it might be worth doing. Anyway, just throwing that out there for future things. There you go. That's our show. And before we go, I'm going to just remind you of our 200th episode is coming up extremely quickly. I'm not even ready for it. I'm not. Please send us an email, cheapseatreviews@gmail.com, or you can message the Twitter account, the app at CheapSeatCast. And let us know what you want us to review, and we will do it. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I didn't explain that very well. Email the show or send me a direct message on Twitter. However you want to get in contact with me, that's the way you do it. Whatever you do, how you want to do it, I don't care. Just send me a message and let me know what you want to do. We're going to take, of all of the suggestions and whatever we get, we're going to pick one at random, and you will win a $25 gift card to a movie theater of your choosing. I've already received one entry, which is cool.
I sent one in. Come on.
Yours does not count. So we've already gotten the one, and that was cool. So if you guys would please get those in, so we can get that going, it'll be great, and we'll do something fun for the 200th. And yeah, that's it. So that's your show. Thank you for listening. I think this is the right outro. I hope that hasn't changed in a while, so it should be the same. Yeah, cool. GoFundMe.com/cheapseatreviews is still a thing. Check out our Anchor app. I will be posting one soon, probably before you hear this episode, on Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle. I got to watch that recently. You might be surprised on my thoughts on that movie.
Interesting.
Visit our website, cheapseatreviews.com, for previous episodes. Leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, wherever you can find us. Again, at CheapSeatCast is the Twitter account, so if you want to, again, send me a DM through that, I'm good with that too. And as always, you can send your emails to cheapseatreviews@gmail.com. That's it. That's our show. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Andrew, thank you for joining us all the way from Hickory.
Absolutely.
North Carolina. So
I'm actually outside Sam's window right now.
Oh, nice. Well, you're clearly on a good microphone again, so you sound great.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
It would be really creepy had I actually been standing there.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Well, Sam's been threatening that one for a long time, and this is the first time that the threat will go no, because again, I'm in a hotel in Chicago. So anyway,
what floor?
Third.
Yeah.
So,
still reachable.
Still reachable. You'd actually have to stand on the roof of the Chipotle across the street
I know this Mexican's making me hungry.
Yeah, we actually ate there just the other night.